Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Records detail Brampton councillor standoff with city over derelict property. Canada-wide warrant issued for 24-year-old man falling homicide in Toronto police. Colleen Russell Rollins to step down from role as TDSB director in November. Trudeau in no way supports Israeli offensive in Rafah but is mum on taking action. Good Samaritan's vehicle stolen after stopping to help at scene of Highway 400 crash. Stadium in Etobicoke officially renamed in honor of Rob Ford. Police chopper video shows suspect being arrested after attempted break and enter in King Township.
These were the headlines and let's jump right into the news.
Colleen Russell Rollins will be stepping down from the top staff job at the Toronto District School Board TDSB, she announced Tuesday. In a news release, the board said that trustees were notified at a special meeting Tuesday that Russell Rollins plans to retire from her role as educational director of the TDSB in November. In its release, the board called her an accomplished educator with a career that spans more than 3 decades, including various senior leadership positions at the Literacy and Numeracy Secretariat, Peel District School Board, and TDSB. She has also been a teacher, principal, and superintendent. Russell Rollins has led Canada's largest school board since August 2021, when she was tasked with leading the TDSB out of the COVID-19 pandemic. During her tenure at the TDSB, she oversaw the expansion of access to French immersion, improved access to childcare. Early years literacy supports implemented the Center of Excellence for Black Student Achievement, launched the modernization plan for the board's People and Culture Department, narrowed disproportionate outcomes for many underdeserved students, the board said in its release. She recently led the team in creating the TDSB's multi-year strategic plan, which centers student belonging, achievement, and revitalizing schools, workplaces, and processes so every student can thrive. Her tenure has also overlapped with a number of contentious debates, including masking in schools, cell phone use in classrooms, and behavior and learning around the Middle East conflict. In her most recent leadership report last week, Russell Rollins praised educators for their efforts to continue their primary focus on creating a sustaining and positive climate that fosters high achievement and well-being for students. She called on the board to come together to protect against the polarity that fuels hatred in order to steadfastly support the achievement and well-being of our students. The board said it will begin a search process for a new director of education soon and said more details will be shared once that process is approved by the board. A derelict property connected to a Brampton City Councillor racked up $12,500 in fines in dozens of penalty notices over several months as city officials warned it was becoming a haven for rats and homeless encampment. Records obtained by Awaz News. Emails show that Gurpratap Singh Tour, who represents Brampton's wards 9 and 10, didn't heed the increasingly terse warnings from a property standards officer that the boarded up home on Queen Street, just blocks from Brampton City Hall, was becoming a safety hazard. Photos taken by the property standards officers show access points and boarded up windows and doors, garbage strewn through the property, barrels of an unknown liquid in a driveway, and mattresses, signs that people were occupying the building, which records show was bought for $1.06 million in 2017. It was a condition that was intolerable, especially for a Main Street, one neighbor said. There was an entire network or organization of people squatting back there doing all kind of shadiness, and said Mark Santarosa, who operates a salon next door. In September 2021, well before any fines were issued, the property standards officer wrote Tour that he saw issues including broken windows, garbage, and a broken fence, and rodents and small animals coming and going from the building under the deck and the shed. The records show the officer returned repeatedly and took photos that illustrated the problems with the property remained. Starting in late 2023, Tour was slapped with 29 different tickets over about 8 months, including failing to secure vacant property, failure to remove refuse, and failure to comply with an order, which added up to 12,500, the record shows. Some fines were assigned to collections by mid-April, and the city commissioned almost $2,000 of work to add to the owner's tax bill, the records show. The property is owned by a numbered company, and one of its 2 directors is Tour, according to corporate filings. With no resolution, the property standards officers filed a complaint with the city's integrity commissioner, according to the documents, which were obtained via Freedom of Information request. The action prompted his managers to remove him from the file, according to an email from Robert Hicks, the director of Enforcement and Bylaw Services. After that, no new tickets were issued, the records show. A visit by Awaz News to the property last week showed some improvements, including cut grass and repairs to the wood boarding up, the windows and doors. The 2 barrels were still there. A large hole could still be seen in one wall, and garbage could be seen from the front gate. Tour didn't provide receipts, though the city of Brampton confirmed there was no longer money owing on the property as of the last week. Records from the city of Brampton show that Tour paid some of those fines at around 12:25 p.m. last Thursday, about 10 minutes before Awaz News received his email response. Another neighbor, Jason Valancourt, said in an interview he has sympathy for what Tour's property is facing. He said a considerable homeless population in the area often accesses the property for shelter. Santa Rosa said more needs to be done to the cleanup. If you are going to develop it, said Santa Rosa. But if you're not, you shouldn't be allowed to leave something like this. Ontario Provincial Police say the occupants of a stolen pickup truck involved in a collision on Highway 400 north of Toronto on Tuesday morning stole the vehicle of a Good Samaritan who stopped to assist following the crash. The collision occurred in the northbound lanes of the highway south of Lloydtown, Aurora Road, shortly before 6 a.m. Police said 2 tractor trailers and a stolen pickup truck were involved in the crash, which led to extensive guardrail damage. According to police, a Good Samaritan saw the collision and stopped to render assistance. Police said the occupants of the stolen pickup truck, a man and a woman, proceeded to steal the Good Samaritan's car and flee the scene. Police said they have not yet located that car, identified as a grey Honda Fit. 2 lanes of the highway will be shut down for a few more hours for cleanup, police added. Police in Toronto have issued a Canada-wide warrant for a man considered to be armed and dangerous after a homicide in the city's downtown core last week. According to investigators with Toronto Police Service (TPS), a male victim was found lying on the ground at the rear of the building in the area of Isabella and Jory Streets on Monday 22nd at approximately 12:18 a.m. Paramedics transported the man to the hospital, where he died days later. On Sunday, the victim has been identified as 30-year-old Jesse Tubbs, a resident of Mississauga. Police have issued a Canada-wide warrant for Adrian Gordon, Jr., 24, of Toronto on 1 count of first-degree murder. Police say the suspect is considered to be armed and dangerous. If located, do not approach the suspect, they said. Instead, they ask you call 911 immediately. Anyone with the information is asked to contact police at 416-828-7400 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. York Regional Police have arrested 2 people and are looking for a third suspect following an attempted break and enter at a home in King Township last week. Officers were called to the area of Highway 27 and King Road last Friday just before 2 a.m. for the reports of a break-in. When they arrived, officers engaged in a brief foot pursuit as the suspect tried to flee. Police said the suspects were allegedly observed breaking into a vehicle at a nearby residence prior to the officers' arrival. One suspect was shortly arrested while another was apprehended with the help of the Canine Unit and the Air Support Unit. On Tuesday, police released video footage from the chopper when the second suspect was located and taken into custody. The video then shows the Canine Unit arriving in the yard. He is going to be hiding behind the minivan door, the officer said. After a brief search, the suspect was found and handcuffed. Investigators have also since determined the vehicle the suspects used was stolen in Toronto early this year. As a result, police announced on Tuesday that the suspects identified as 21-year-old Tibor Rogana and 18-year-old Yasiva Amah have been charged with several offenses including 2 counts of loitering and prowling at night and other person's property on the other person's property and 2 counts of possession of property obtained by crime. Police said Orgona was bound by a release order for unrelated offenses at the time of the incidents. The charges have yet to be tested in court. Meanwhile, a third suspect remains outstanding and no description has been released. Anyone with further information is asked to contact police at 1-866-876-5423 extension 7142 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. A stadium in Toronto's West End has been officially renamed in honor of former Mayor Rob Ford, Ford's brother, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, and Mayor Olivia Chow attended the renaming ceremony Tuesday evening at the Etobicoke Centennial Park Stadium, now known as Rob Ford Stadium. Rob's greatest joy was the chance to serve the people of Toronto and give back to his community, and that was especially true when it came to the young people he coached, the Premier said in a news release issued before the event. Today's renaming on what would have been Rob's 55th birthday is beautiful tribute to his legacy of public service and one that is deeply appreciated by our entire family, especially Rob's kids, Dougie and Stephanie. The 64th Mayor of Toronto died in 2016 at the age of 46 after a battle with a rare form of cancer. He served as mayor from 2010 to 2014 and represented Etobicoke North as the councillor before and after his tenure until his death. Toronto's decision to rename the stadium after the politician and former high school football coach followed a council vote in December of last year on a motion brought forward by Councillor Paul Ansley and seconded by Councillor Sherry Carroll. A number of councillors had argued that Ford's behavior as mayor had embarrassed the city. In 2013, video of then mayor smoking crack cocaine surfaced online, something he could admit to later that year. Despite the resistance from some councillors, the motion passed 17-6 with Chow's support. Today's naming ceremony was a beautiful tribute to a long-serving public official, Chow said in remarks published before the ceremony. I personally know the pain of losing a loved one, which is why I supported the motion to rename the stadium. I understand what this means for the Ford family, and I understand how difficult it is to lose someone so prematurely. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says his government is horrified by Israeli strikes that killed civilians in Rafah early this week, but walked away from reporters when they asked what he will do about it. His comment comes 2 days after gruesome images emerged of children injured in airstrikes and fires burning among encampments of displaced people in Rafah. Trudeau says Canada in no way supports the attacks on Rafah, which had become a safe haven for more than 1 million Palestinians fleeing Israeli attacks elsewhere in the Gaza Strip. Canada supported Israel's right to defend itself following the Hamas attack on October 7th, but Trudeau says Canada urged Israel not to proceed with an offensive in the southern city. Israel says Rafah has become a Hamas stronghold and is crucial to routing the militant group that killed 1,200 people in Israel last October, and it described Sunday's carnage as a mistake. Humanitarian groups, including the Mennonite Central Committee, say the area is far too crowded for any safe military operation, pointing to the scenes that occurred Sunday. Canada in no way supports the military operations by Israel in Rafah. Indeed, we have been calling for a ceasefire, including at the United Nations, since December, and we will continue to, Trudeau told reporters Tuesday on Parliament Hill. We need to see much more humanitarian aid flow into Gaza, and we need to see all hostages released. But when pressed for information on what Canada might do, he walked away from the scrum. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza reports 36,000 people have been killed in war, including combatants.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.